Originally designed for Arcwing, a more or less abandoned gameplay style, DE decided to let us use them on the ground as heavy weapons. The way I understand it, they were meant to serve as a sort of emergency weapon. A limited-use tool that, when called down, could put out power that your regular weapons could otherwise not. There was just one slight problem. This is the power of your regular weapons. Archguns had a very high bar they needed to clear in order to justify the several restrictions they had as heavy weapons, and, well, they didn't quite clear it. But with the Valis Undermine came sweeping changes to the Archgun weapon class as a whole, letting us put 2 arcanes on each gun, one primary and one secondary. It certainly takes their power up a notch, letting them finally be on par with most of our regular weapons. But power is only half the battle here. Messing around with the newly added Arbicep has really highlighted all the things that Archguns are still missing. It has amazing status application potential, letting you proc every combo status in the game. Unfortunately, you can't really take advantage of that with condition overload effects, as not only do those type of mods not exist for Archguns, but you can't really switch to a weapon that does have them either unless you're willing to put your Archgun on cooldown. Its rather slow projectiles remind me how we still don't have projectile speed mods. That's right, there are no projectile speed mods for the weapon class that's all projectiles in its intended game! And of course, there are the classic Archgun pitfalls of crippled movement and that long-ass reloading cooldown. If you ask me what Archguns need, I think it's the following. Let's start with weapon swapping. Letting us be able to use our melee weapon at the very least would make things feel a lot less clunky, allowing us to once again have a close range option, as well as extra movement we often take for granted through melee slams. Letting us also swap to our secondary weapon without having to put the Archgun on cooldown would also be pretty nice, but not entirely necessary. Speaking of the cooldown, I feel like this mechanic needs a slight rework. A possible idea would be having it so that you could deploy the Archgun while it's still recharging. The amount of ammo you would have would be proportional to the amount of time you waited. That alone would let you use the Archgun a lot more often, without having to reduce the actual cooldown time. Another thing that would further encourage Archgun use would be allowing them to be affected by damage buffs such as from warframe abilities. I promise it won't ruin the game balance. I mean, we already have this. And lastly, more mod variety would always be appreciated. Not just more power in the form of galvanized mods, but also some quality of life stuff like projectile speed, please! Archguns will never be strong enough to warrant the restrictions put upon them as emergency heavy weapons, so I think it's time to start easing up on them. Arcanes were certainly a step in the right direction, and I do hope that DE continues to improve Archguns further in future updates. But until then, I guess it's back to the mines.
Hello, Genetics Research Division. How are my chimeras coming along?
When can I finally kill this guy?